Hello everybody. We have a game with the black pieces on our speedrun against Harden 10. We're going to try to get a Pirc setup. And this 1260 hangs a pawn on move 3. Move 3. 3 moves. You can't keep up with 3 moves. Okay. He develops the bishop, attacks the knight. We retreat the knight to safety. Natural square. He plays a pawn move, trying to stop our bishop from developing and pinning the knight. But we're going for the fianchetto setup, so let's throw those moves in. He castles, standard. And let's see how white proceeds. C4, C3, knight somewhere. So knight somewhere. We can castle. We're ready to proceed with aggressive action, attacking his center. So he develops the bishop. It's a common move. Players like to go bishop g5, but at the end of the day, h6 comes, and what are you doing with this bishop? If you give it up, it's just a bad choice. So now you're off of this diagonal. Also not ideal. So we get to go again. e5 just strengthens the pin. So instead of e5, we're looking for a move like c5. So let's throw in c5, attacking his center. He takes, we take. We now have an open line for our queen. We now have equalized central space. He no longer has a pawn in the center. Before he had one and we didn't. Now he doesn't have one. So he moves the queen, pressures the pawn, gets ready to bring rooks down the central files. Makes sense. I feel like developing my knight makes the most sense, so I'm going to start with that. The queen, okay. He x-rays the queen, so we want to move it. Queen c7 is natural, but walks into this bishop tempo. So queen b6 walks into knight a4. Queen a5. I mean, it has pressure, it coordinates on dark squares, it's out of the way. Is it too out of the way though? Otherwise, it's queen e8. Is that terrible? Maybe. Maybe. So maybe we can go for, since I don't like any of those squares particularly, maybe we can go for an alternative, which is knight in the center, just blocking the d file so my queen's not actually in danger. It counters his queen, so it's fast, it doesn't move, it doesn't waste time. And now he blunders the game. He goes here, but I can take the queen with check, and so I don't lose my queen. So I thought he was going to take my knight, which I'll show after the game. So now my queen is loose. And now all of those other squares are good because you're up a queen. So I'm going to go to c7, and if he kicks me, I can move it even to c6. Okay, instead he hangs a knight, so that doesn't work. Then he takes the pawn, allowing me to improve a knight for free and get it out of the way of the trade. This pawn is defended. He goes back, but since we're up a queen, we have the luxury of weakening our king as much as we want with a move like g5. The point of this move is just to force his dark square bishop off the board. Okay, so now that we did that, there's stuff hanging, we can develop, you can do whatever you want. Okay, I'm going to ruin my pawn structure on purpose for the sake of development. I hope he takes and messes things up and it looks so ugly, but my rooks are connected and open to his rooks, and because I'm up a queen, I don't care at all about these pawns. So he moves the bishop back. I'm just going to make the first automatic move I see, which is just to hit the bishop. There's, like I said, there's stuff hanging. You can bring rooks in. Everything's winning. I just like attacking stuff because it's fun. So let's push our pawns, attack stuff, see what he does. He goes back, attack stuff. Bishop's trapped. That's funny. Guess it can go here. But trades is what, that's what I'm looking for. Also, queen c5 wins the bishop, maybe. So he moves the knight, counter attacks the bishop. Our bishop. Sensible. No reason to give it to him. Now he can take here. He doesn't take there. Weird. Let's just take stuff. I thought his knight was going to be there. When I almost pre-moved this, but I thought his knight was going to be here. So I was intending on getting this moving for free. But he took with the knight, so... But I had already kind of released the mouse. Okay, he's making random moves. Let's just bring anything in the game. Okay, let's go for trades. Let's go for trades. Go for trades. Go for trades. Free stuff. That's the strategy. Go for trades. Now that guy wasted everyone's time, let's face Oleg. Not a provisional. We got to get out of this 1200 range where these provisionals are. So we get a Sicilian on the board, and you need to have something against the Sicilian. Ideally, find a line or a setup and go for it. Okay, he's pinning the knight, so we don't have to take right now because it's not going anywhere. He plays the other knight out. Let's go for this f4 pawn setup that we like to play. We play it against pawn to e5 as well as c5. So he pushes past, creating a nice light square hole in the center. I think this is a good opportunity to push past. The only thing is, what if he then pushes? We get a pawn for free. He gets the pawn back. Yeah, I don't really like that. So I'm going to develop another piece. And now he takes. And we just take back developing. We have all 4 minors out. And we're ready to castle. Do we want to castle short? Probably. Let's just get it out of the way. Our rook's on the semi-open file. He castles. Okay. So his knight is not pinned. And can definitely control the dark squares. If we take it, he'll take this way. And then we can just try to attack his king. Alternatively, let's take it before it jumps into the center. Okay. So now it's a playable game from both of us, from him and from me. What do we want to do? I think I'm going to start with b3. Prevent. It's a weird move to explain because it looks so weakening. But it's really about stopping c4, and it's specific to this type of setup. He goes bishop g4. This pins the knight, develops a piece. Okay. I think I'll just move my queen, which unpins the knight. And move my queen maybe closer to his king side, so queen e1. This b move also prevents rook pressure. He pushes in the center. What is this threat? I don't think he's ever really threatening to take because his pawns just get so weak. And pushing is the Same deal, so I don't think he's threatening anything as long as we don't take him. We also have the option of pushing. If he goes knight to the side, he's hitting our bishop. If we go bishop back, his knight is kind of weird, and we can harass maybe with h3, g4. So I'm going to kick the knight and go down that variation. You don't want to put your bishop here because it walks into a fork. If you go back this way, the knight can take. So bishop d2 makes the most sense if he hits it. Otherwise, if he goes this way, you don't have to worry about anything. Everything's well defended. You're good. And you can proceed with your own plan, which was bringing our queen over. So queen g3 looks pretty good. He takes, but I feel like rook takes. I guess g-pawn is interesting, but that's slow. Let's go rook takes. Bishop h6 is threatened. Okay, he spends a turn hitting our queen. We'll just move our queen. I don't see what the point of this is. Where to move it? I still want to threaten the same thing, so maybe just up one with some pressure on the knight. f5. En passant, queen takes. Here, f5. Queen h3. Yeah, let's do that. Queen h3 looks good enough. I'll have this weird blockade e5 wedge pawn. I kind of like it. I have g3 anytime to kick the bishop. Anytime he kicks my knight, it hops into the center and kingside for free, so I would love to see that. Otherwise, my other rook's gonna join the party, maybe rook lift if my queen's not there. And I really like white's setup and the attack that's coming, that's brewing. There's no way at 1200 we'll be able to resist, to resist. Although 1700 wouldn't either, because white's pieces are too well placed. It's just too hard for black to play accurately. With this pawn, this whole construction, these 5 units, it's going to be really hard to defend with your bishop, your queen, and then you have to figure out what's the engine best pawn moves at the engine best time, and it's not easy. Okay. So now f5 hits our knight and our queen. So queen h3, maybe not. So en passant, he can't take with the knight because the bishop hangs. Can't take with the queen because the queen hangs. So he can't even go f5 now because the knight's here adding extra support. And that means that I really don't see any tries. f5 was the only kind of thing that maybe I was looking at, but now it looks he's just stuck. He's just going to retreat or something, or do a crazy move like f5 anyway, and just hang stuff. Because there's nothing else to do. Like, nothing else matters. You can't move your piece. You can't, help. Moving the rook over kind of looks... Hey, at least it attacks something. There's that. Okay, so there you go. I found a move for him. Attack something. Okay, so he goes queen here, trying to add a little bit of defense. But that takes away the escape square from the bishop. It does attack this twice, but it takes the escape square away from the bishop. So g3, bishop can't go anywhere. Knight takes, hits our queen. We can take this way, or we can take this way. So let's hit the bishop, add another unit of attack, a sixth piece. And this is an instructive game for how to play, close Sicilian. Oftentimes, black will play just like this. Casual moves, development, and find themselves in trouble on the king side pretty early. Or pretty easily, not early. And we didn't have to do anything crazy to get this. We just played a pawn structure that allows for f4, right? Because we played the close Sicilian, which means we put the pawn on d3, not d4. That allows us to create this line. So what did he do? He takes the pawn in the center. We can take that though. We take his strong knight, and then we take his bishop. And we're up a piece. I keep yawning. Okay, now the game is over, so he should resign. Let's see if we can force resignation. What's the best way to do that? He makes a random pawn move. Let's bring in our last piece, coordinating with our rooks. We now have rook f5 potential. Our position's super solid, unassailable. Our only weak points, both defended by rook up. This goes up. So he moves his queen. She immediately hangs stuff. But I feel like it's got to be f6 square, because it's always the f6 square. Rook here threatens the queen. Pawn takes the rook. We go here. He goes here. We go here. I mean, it has to be good. And there's also knight takes. I mean, knight check. But if he just moves his king there, you're not really forcing the issue. So let's force the issue with the rook. And maybe we don't even take back. Maybe we let him take and we just take the pawn. That way he can't move his king. And no matter what he does with his rooks, he can't defend f6 anyway. So we just checkmate him, and then that's probably easiest, because if you take with the rook, it looks strong, but he can just take that rook and then check, move the king up, and you're obviously winning, but it's not immediate checkmate in 2 or 3. So this is a decent game by Oleg. I'm happy that it was better than I thought. He moves his queen so that he can create this X-ray, but there's two problems. One, queen's defended, so it's not hanging, so this doesn't work. And two, even if it was hanging, you have moves like rook takes h6. If they take the rook, you lose the queen, take the queen, rook takes backwards, which we still have here. So he knew not to take the rook, which was very smart for a 1200. So I guess, I mean, we could just force the issue this way, but that allows the queen trade, and then we don't have checkmate. Huh. How about we don't do that then? And we leave our rook hanging. And we just get aggressive with this guy, because I want to checkmate him. So now if I sack my queen, and he takes, I don't have a checkmate just yet. So I'll sack my rook and go for this type of checkmate. Yeah, I'll go rook h5 and try to checkmate him or something. You have lots of ways to win, but I think leaving my rook hanging is the coolest, so. Might also be the best. I have 4 pieces, they're now all in the attack. My knight, I mean, it's on a pseudo outpost. Now he takes. But this walks into the mate we were looking at before, where I take this pawn, and then no matter what he does, I go here. He has to give up the queen, and then, I mean, it should be mate like 2 moves after that. Is there a faster mate? Check here. Maybe? Actually, maybe. Let's go for this one. Check. Oh, but if he goes here, then I just have this. Yeah, and that's just mate, so. Yeah, this was probably even faster. That's why I just take a second on every move to just look for something else. And we go through the game. So we get a Sicilian, and we play close Sicilian. He develops. We bring the bishop out with the threat of ruining his structure. He allows it. Center and development. Center and development. Development and center. He takes the pawn. Force move. He develops. Castle. King safety. Development. Castle. Now we get rid of the piece since it's unpinned and ruin his structure. Still even playable game. I throw this move in. It's a weird positional move, but it stops the eventual c4 and rook pressure ideas. And now, getting out of the pin and improving a piece towards the king side. I totally forgot about knight in the center. I was too hung up on e5, but I definitely like knight in the center more. And still playable from both sides, but I like white. We now improve our queen for free. He takes our piece, and so I automatically took back and completely missed the intermezzo bishop h6 threatening mate in 1. However, it does get complicated because he did just take a piece. So if he were to try to defend checkmate with something like bishop f6, he can give back the piece, take with the queen, but then you can take with the rook. Yeah, so that's kind of fancy. I'm actually curious. Let's go down that line. I go here. Computer wants bishop f6. We take. So this is the line. And now how's it go? His bishop's hanging, but so's ours. So the only way to keep this tactic working is the only move bishop d2. Bishop d2. Now his bishop's hanging and his queen's in the. So he gives a check. Okay, yeah, this was definitely just above my 10-minute game pay grade. So he takes a knight, I take a knight, right? So this is my one mistake of the game, is missing this nice tactic that you would need to invest time in to make sure it works before you do it. We're already down more than 2 minutes. Having said that, I didn't even realize the option, so that's a different story. He hits the queen, so force move. And right here, he should have tried f5, which is what I was looking at. And it's an even game, even though white, I'd still rather be white, he's preferred. So en passant does give black the advantage, as I thought. So you have queen h3 and queen h5 as the 2 moves that are playable. Okay, so everything is as expected. I like that. He doesn't play and hits our knight. I said in the game I'd be more than happy to see this, as it's now +4 and the knight gets in for free. And he no longer has f5. So it's completely losing now, from even with f5 to completely losing +5. So Remember I said in order to play accurately, you have to find the exact right computer move at the exact the pawn computer move at the exact right time whenever you defend as black. And oftentimes it is an F5 type idea. And that was it. You miss it, 1 second, you're done. Cooked. Now his bishop's trapped. He tries to get it back through tactics, but that don't work. We're just up material, and now we bring our last piece in the game. You see how it's still recommending c4 as the top move, even though I played b3 in order to stop it, and he's +5 in this while he's being attacked in this random situation. The computer wants black to play c4, so now you can see why. It's because I've analyzed this, and they always want him to play c4 for some reason. Now you know where that b3 came from. Crazy, but somewhere out there, c4 is a great move. So it's +6, and is this the best move? Yeah, it is. Of course it is. It's always f6 in a king attack. And not with the knight, but specifically with the rook. And he found the best response, actually, was to move your queen to one of these squares. Queen h5. Queen h5. Just getting it out of the alignment. Probably so you can sack stuff. But we brought in the other rook. Makes a lot of sense. And then he just walks into mate in 4. Oh wait, no. Oh, so I thought this might have been faster. Wait, but if he goes here, wait, yeah, and if he goes here, I was gonna take here. And they're saying he just goes back, but then I'm gonna mate him. But then he has checks. So you just switch up the order. I mean it's totally cooked either way, but they're saying he has way out of forced mate. It's not forced. And I always like it forced. Okay, so the original one was forced. So I should have gone for that. Because now I'm threatening this. Am I not? So if he does a random move. Ah, that's why. The reason I discounted this line was because after I take with the knight, he was going to sack the queen, and then it would take like an extra 2 or 3 moves to give the mate. But you just forget about that and just go for the obvious mate on the h-file. Whoops. Either way, though, I mean, it makes no real difference. So we get another one. Good luck in your game. I'll see you in the next one.